It seems like this is a good set of numbers. The market certainly likes it. You've also lifted your earnings target for 2021. Is it safe to say that the worst is behind us?
Well, I think there's parts of the economy where that is true, particularly in the technology sector. And obviously, because we're connected to logistics, there's been a very substantial improvement in shipments worldwide. And really, we're in what looks to me like a goods-led recovery. People can't travel, go to pubs, clubs, concerts, and other entertainment, but they can stay at home and repair their homes and work on their gymnasium and other things. So there's a lot of goods moving through the supply chain that it's actually a little higher than the volumes that we were seeing October, November last year. So it's higher than pre-COVID time. So that's very good for us and very good for our customers.
Yeah, WiseTech is a good bellwether for what we're seeing in terms of global supply chains, trade flows. Your customers include the likes of DHL and UPS. What are your clients telling you now in terms of where things are going, and what sort of trends are you seeing?
Well, there's a number of trends and a lot of different counterpoints. But if you look at the very large logistics companies in the world, and DHL is a very substantial customer of ours, as is DSV and many others, Bolloré, Geodis. These are all great companies. They're big enough that they can leverage their size advantage in tough times, and they can basically move into the supply chain in ways that are sort of COVID-19 resistant or COVID-19 positive even. And we've seen the success of e-commerce. That's also feeding the supply chain. And we have technology pieces in all those components. And DHL, a very good customer of ours, doing incredibly well in terms of their performance in these incredibly strange times.
So given all of that, how do you envision the recovery to be, and when do you see perhaps numbers returning to pre-COVID levels?
Well, in the supply chain, the numbers, particularly international trade, are actually already above pre-COVID levels. Now, some of that is when we say our numbers, we're talking about what we see, and that's partly due to our growth, because we've actually made quite a bit of a move in market share terms in recent times, and partly to do with the recovery of the supply chain itself. It's hard to unbundle those two things for us. Industrial production has recovered, which is a good indicator of supply chain trends, and our container volumes around the world have recovered, and they're substantially above the median line from October, November last year. So that looks strong, and that'll probably soften a little bit as the good chain settles and becomes a little bit more manageable. But we're also growing into a market which is now demanding better technology, more efficiency, the ability to work from home more reliably and more easily. And many of these old legacy systems that are sort of littered with these little micro-point bolt-ons struggle in times like COVID-19 times and are very difficult to use and don't really match the new business models. Whereas our platform CargoWise One is very adaptable, and it's got a workflow engine, and it's got designer tools in it, and you can make it change things so that when you need to change your business model, like in COVID-19, it's simply a data structure change, not a reprogramming of the system. So it's because it's very adaptable and because it's very productive and very automated, we're picking up a lot of new business. We picked up much higher customer run rates this half year than we've ever done before.
I want to touch on your acquisitions. You've been pretty aggressive. You acquired about 40 companies in recent years. Talk to us about what you mean by the acquisitions helping your penetration in the areas of logistics, when some people, especially the short sellers, are saying that your acquisition strategy is actually failing.
Well, short sellers don't know how to build software, and we do. The fact is that without those acquisitions, we would not be the globally capable company that we are. We didn't buy them as revenue roll-ups. We bought them because of the incredible knowledge that the people and the technology stack that they had was able to give us, and was able to penetrate these very complicated geographies like Western Europe, European Union, Latin America. These are very complicated, complex borders with lots of compliance risk and electronic lodgement requirements that would just be impossible to do at any time, risk or cost for anybody. And we've now got a sort of a recipe to get to much of that global trade. We can get to 80 to 90% of global customs clearances and take an enormous pain point and risk factor out of our customers' businesses. So it's a big addressable market that's expanding way past what the current market, the available market is for us. And that's in this what we call foothold, which is the geographic expansions. And then we've got those adjacent acquisitions that are giving us depth in warehousing and transport and rates and contract management and other things. And they add to the power of the platform itself and give customers a further place that they can grow their businesses and vertically integrate and do other things. We are building, very clearly building from those components and those knowledgeable people, not reusing the software, but rebuilding the software with those people's knowledge and building the operating system for global logistics. And that is something that nobody else has ever done. And it requires a lot of thought and decent amount of time and a lot of skill and a lot of focus and concentration. That's what we're doing.
So, Richard, just to follow up on that, are you done with acquiring companies, or are you looking for more in the next 12, 24 months?
So we've captured a large part of what we needed, and I believe that the proper thing to do now is to slow down, optimize what we're doing with those integrations of those acquisitions, build out the technology stack that we said we'd built that, and we've done quite a bit of it already, and go as far and as fast as we can with what we've already bought. I think there is an opportunity that will come up, perhaps presented by COVID-19, and there will be things to buy opportunistically in time. So we're not going to say we're never going to do any more acquisitions, but equally we're not really focused on acquisitions anymore. We're focused on integration, development and delivery of the values that those acquisitions were going to give us and are going to give us in the future.